dear sister, can you think of any of all the evils that stem from Oedipus that Zeus does not bring to pass for us while we yet live? What is this proclamation made lately by the commander? Do you know it? Don't you notice what evils due to enemies are headed towards those we love?
Not a word, Antigone, of those we love, either sweet or bitter, has come to me since the moment we lost our two brothers, by their own hands dealing mutual death in civil war.
That is why I sent for you, to listen to me, privately.
What is it? Certainly your words come of dark thoughts.
Yes, indeed. For those two brothers of ours in burial has not Creon, our uncle, the new king, honored the one, dishonored the other. He will have our elder brother Eteocles hid in the earth to have his honor among dead men there. But the unhappy corpse of our other brother, Polynices, who rose up against Eteocles to take his rightful place on the throne, Creon has proclaimed to have no man hide in grave, nor mourn in funeral, but leave unwept, unburied. This is what he has decreed for you and me. For me, not to bury my own brother. Anyone who violates Creon's command will be put to death.
If things are as you say, poor sister, how can I better them? How loose or tie the knot?
Decide if you'll share the word, the deed.
How far have your thoughts gone?
Here is this hand. Will you help it to lift the dead man?
Would you bury him when it is forbidden in the city?
He is my brother, and yours too, though you deny him. I will not prove false to him.
Creon has forbidden it.
It is not for him to keep me from my own.
Oh God, consider, sister, how our father Oedipus died, hated and infamous, having struck out his own eyes. Then mother and wife, two names in one, did shame violently on her life with twisted cord. Finally, too, our brothers on a single day themselves worked out their mutual doom. Now there are only two of us, and see how miserable our end shall be if we shall transgress against the sovereign's decree and power. You ought to realize we are only women, not meant in nature to fight against men, and we are ruled by those who are stronger. I do indeed beg those beneath the earth to give me their forgiveness. I shall yield in this to the authorities. Extravagant action is not sensible.
I would not urge you now, nor if you wanted to act would I be glad to have you with me. Be as you choose to be. But for myself, I myself will bury him. It'll be good to die so in doing. I shall lie by his side, loving him as he loved me. The time in which I must please those that are dead is longer than that I must please those of this world. You, if you like, can cast dishonor on what the gods have honored.
I will not put dishonor on them, but to act in defiance of the citizenry. My nature does not give me means for that.
Let that be your excuse, but I will go to heap the earth on the grave of my loved brother.
How I fear for you, my poor sister.
Do not fear for me. Make straight your own path to destiny.
Do not speak of this act to anyone else. Bury him in secret. I will be silent too.
No! Shout it out! I will hate you still worse for silence should you not proclaim it to everyone.
You have a warm heart for such chilly deeds.
I know I'm pleasing those I should please most.
If you can do it, but you are in love with the impossible.
If you will talk like this, I'll loathe you, and you'll be adjudged an enemy, justly by the dead's decision. Let me alone. No suffering of mine will be enough to make me die ignobly.
Well, if you will go on, know this, that though you are wrong to go, your friends are right to love you.
Gentlemen, I have summoned you here because I know you as always loyal to the throne. Now here I am, holding all authority in virtue of kinship with the dead. For my part, I would not be silent if I saw ruin on the way toward my fellow citizens. I would not count any enemy of my country as a friend. In consonance with this, I here proclaim for Eteocles, who dies the city's champion. He shall be buried in his grave with every right of sanctity given to heroes under earth. However, for his brother, Polynices, a returned exile who sought to burn his native city, I here proclaim for this man, none shall honor with a grave and none shall mourn. You will watch him chewed up by bird and dogs and violated. Never by me shall the wicked man have precedence in honor over the just.
It lies in your power to use any legal means, both about the dead and those of us who live, to deal with both friend and foe of this our city.
I understand then. You will do my bidding.
Please lay this burden on some younger man.
Oh, watchers of the corpse I have already.
What else then do your commands entail?
That you should not side with those who disagree.
There is none so foolish as to love his own death.
Yes, indeed.
My lord! I will never claim my shortness of breath is due to hurrying. Not wanting you to get the news from someone else, I made haste slowly. I come here, a man with a firm clutch on the hope that none shall betide him save what is fated.
What is it then that makes you so afraid?
I did not do this thing. I never saw who did it.
Clearly you have some ugly news for me.
You know how disaster makes man hesitate to be their messenger?
For God's sake, tell me and get out of here.
Someone has just now buried the corpse and vanished. He scattered on the skin some thirsty dust. He did the ritual to purge the body of desecration.
Who on earth would have done this?
The doer of the deed left no trace. The first sentry of the day pointed it out, and the lot of the draw chose me to tell you.
I wonder, could this be God's doing?
This thought haunts me.
My lord!
Stop! Before your words fill me with rage. Do you see the gods as honoring criminals? This is not so. Know this right well, and I speak under oath. If you and your fellows do not bring to light those men who have done this, your death alone will not be enough for me. You shall hang alive until you open up this outrage.
Have I your leave to speak?
Don't you know your talk pains me enough already?
Is the ache in your ears or in your mind?
Why do you dissect the whereabouts of my pain?
Because it is he who did the deed who hurts your mind. I only hurt your ears that listen. I did not do this thing.
You might have done this if you sold your soul.
It is a bad thing if one judges and one judges wrongly.
You may talk as wittily as you like of judgment, but if you do not bring to light those men who have done this, your wretched gains have brought bad consequences.
I swear you will never see me here again. I never hoped to escape, but now I have come off safe. I thank God heartily.
Cunning fellow is man. He has a way against everything, and he faces nothing to come without contrivance. Only against death can he call on no means of escape.
Is this a portent sent by God? I cannot tell.
I know her. How can I say this is not Antigone?
Oh, unhappy girl. Child of Oedipus, what is this? Surely it is not you they bring here as disobedient to the royal edict?
She is the one who did the deed. We took her burying him.
What is this? What has happened that I come so opportunely?
My lord, there is nothing a man should swear he should never do. I come here though I break my oath in coming. I bring this girl here who has been caught giving the grace of burial to the man. I am now free and clear of all this trouble.
This girl. How did you take her, and from where?
She was burying the man.
Do you know what you are saying?
She is the one. I saw her burying the body you forbade the burial of.
How was she seen?
When we came there, with those dreadful threats of yours upon us, we brushed off all the dust that lay upon the dead man's corpse. We sat on the brow of the hill to windward, that we may shun the smell of the corpse upon us. When at last we were quit of it, we saw the girl. She was crying the shrill cry of an embittered bird that sees its nest robbed of nestlings. So too, when she saw the body stripped of its cover, she burst out in groans, calling terrible curses against those that had done the deed. With her hands immediately brought a second round of funeral offerings to the body. From a shapely urn held high above the head poured a triple stream of funeral offerings. We rushed upon her. We charged her with what she had done then and the first time. And to my joy, but to my pain as well, she did not deny a word of it.
You there, that cast your eyes upon the ground, do you confess or deny what you have done?
Yes, I confess. I will not deny my deed.
You are free of heavy charge. Now, Antigone, tell me, did you know of the proclamation against your action?
I knew it. Of course I did, for it was public.
And did you dare disobey that law?
Yes. It was not Zeus that made the proclamation, nor did justice. I do not believe your proclamation had such power to enable one who will someday die to override God's ordinance. Unwritten and secure. They are not of today and yesterday. They live forever. I know I will die. Of course I do. Even if you had not doomed me by proclamation. If I shall die before my time, I count that a profit. How can such as I, that live among such troubles, not find a profit in death? If I dared to leave the dead man, my mother's son, dead and unburied, that would have been real pain. The other is not. Now, if you think me a fool to act like this, perhaps it is a fool that judges so.
The savage spirit of a savage father shows itself in this girl.
She does not know how to yield to trouble.
This girl has learned her insolence before this, when she broke the established law. Here is still another insolence. She boasts of it. I swear I am no man, and she the man if she can win this and not pay for it. No. Though she were my sister's child, neither she nor her sister should escape the utmost sentence, death. For indeed I accuse her, the sister, equally of plotting the burial. Summon her. I saw her inside just now, crazy, distraught. Surely I hate the one caught in evil and makes that evil look like good.
Do you want anything beyond my taking and my execution?
Once I have that, I will have everything.
Why do you wait then? Nothing that you say pleases me. God forbid it ever should. So my words too naturally offend you. Yet how could I win a greater share of glory than putting my own brother in his grave? All that are here would surely say that is true, if fear did not lock their tongues up.
You are alone among the people of Thebes to see things in that way.
No, these do too, but keep their mouth shut in fear of you.
Are you not ashamed to think so differently from them?
There is nothing shameful in honoring my brother.
Was not he that died on the other side your brother?
Yes,
Why then do you show a grace that must be impossible pious in his sight.
That other dead man would never bear you witness in what you say. It was his brother, not his slave, that died.
He died, destroying the country the other defended.
The god of death demands these rights for both.
My enemy is still my enemy, even in death.
My nature is to join in love, not hate.
Go then to the world below yourself if you must love. Love them. No woman shall rule while I am alive.
Here comes Ismene, shedding tears for the love of a brother.
You there, who lurked in my house. I never thought I was raising two rebels against my throne. Come then, tell me now, will you two say you had a hand in the burial, or will you deny you knew anything of it?
I did it. Yes, if she will say I did it, I bear my share in it. Bear the guilt, too.
Justice will not allow you what you refused, and I'll have none of your partnership.
But in your troubles, I am not ashamed to sail with you the sea of suffering.
Where the act was death, the dead are witnesses. I do not love a friend who loves in words.
Sister, do not dishonor me, denying me a common death with you, a common honoring of the dead man.
Don't die with me, nor make your own what you have never touched. I that die am enough.
What life is there for me once I have lost you?
Ask Creon. Oh, your care was on his behalf.
Why do you hurt me when you gain nothing by it? Even now, what can I do to help you still?
Save yourself. I do not grudge you your escape.
I cannot bear it, not even to share your death.
Life was your choice, and death was mine.
You cannot say I accepted that choice in silence.
You are right in the eye of one party, I in the other.
Well, then the fault is equally between us.
Take heart, you are alive. But my life died long ago to serve the dead.
Here are two girls. One of them has suddenly lost her wits. The other was always so.
What life can be mine alone without her?
Do not speak of her. She isn't anymore.
Will you kill your son's wife-to-be?
Yes. There are other fields for him to plow.
Not with the mutual love of him and her.
I hate a bad wife for a son of mine.
Dear Haemon, how your father dishonors you.
There is too much of you, and of your marriage.
Will you rob your son of this girl?
Death. It is death that will stop the marriage for me.
Your decision, it seems, is taken. She shall die.
Both you and I have decided it. No more delay. Take them inside.
Lucky are those whose lives know no taste of sorrow.
No generation frees another. Some god strikes them down. There is no irreverence.
Here is the light of hope stretched over the last roots of Oedipus' house, and the bloody dust due to the gods hath mowed it down.
Here is Haemon, youngest of your sons. Does he come grieving for the fate of his bride-to-be, in agony of being cheated of his marriage?
My son, can it be that you have not heard of my final decision on your betrothed? Can you come here in fury against your father? Or have I your love still no matter what I do?
Father, I am ours. With your excellent judgment you lay the right before me, and I shall follow it. No marriage will ever be so valued by me as to override the goodness of your leadership.
Yes, my son. This must always be in your very heart. Do not, my son, banish your good sense through pleasure in a woman, since you know that the embrace grows cold when an evil woman shares your bed and home. Throw her out like an enemy, this girl, to marry someone in death's house. I caught her openly in disobedience against me, and I shall not make myself a liar in the city's sight. No, I will kill her. We must stand on the side of what is orderly. We cannot give victory to a woman. If we must accept defeat, let it be from a man. The people shall not say that a woman beat us.
Father, I certainly could not declare you wrong. May I never know how to do so. Still, there might be something useful that some others than you might think. It is natural for me to be watchful on our behalf concerning what all men say or do or find to blame. What I can hear in the dark. The city mourns for this girl. They think she is dying most wrongly and most undeservedly. Here is one who would not let her brother go unburied. A brother that had fallen in bloody conflict to meet his end by greedy dogs or by the bird that chanced that way. Surely what she merits is golden honor, isn't it? That's the dark rumor that spreads in secret. Nothing I own I value more highly than your success, Father. What greater distinction can a son have than the glory of a successful father, and for a father, the distinction of successful children? Yield something of your anger. Give way a little. If a much younger man like me were to have a judgment, it were far better to be wise by nature. It is good to learn from those who advise well.
My lord, 'tis meet that thou should profitest from Haemon's words, and Haemon by thy father's, for on both parts there hath been wise speech.
Should we, that are my age, learn wisdom from young men such as he?
Not learn injustice, certainly. Do not look at my years, but what I do.
Is what you do to have respect for rebels?
I could wish no one to show respect for evildoers.
Is she not tainted by the disease of wickedness?
The entire people of Thebes says no to that.
Must I rule the land by someone else's hand other than my own?
There is no city possessed by one man alone. You would be a fine dictator of a desert.
The boy, it seems, is the woman's champion.
If you are a woman, my care is all for you.
You villain! To band words with your own father. Your nature is vile in yielding to a woman.
You will never find me yielding to baseness.
You will never marry her while her life lasts.
Then she must die, and dying destroy another.
Has your daring gone so far to threaten me?
If you were not my father, I would say you are insane.
You woman slave, do not try to wheedle me.
You want to talk, but never to hear and listen.
By the heavens above, you will not get off lightly for abusing me. Bring out this creature, this hated creature, that she may die before his very eyes, next her would-be husband.
She will not die by my side. You will never again set eyes upon my face. Go then and rage with such of your friends as are willing to endure it.
Your son is gone, my lord.
A young man's mind is fierce when he is hurt.
Let him go. But these two girls he shall not save from death.
Both of them? Do you mean to kill them both?
No, not the one whose hands are pure. You're quite right there.
And by what form of death do you mean to kill her?
I will bring her where the path is loneliest, and hide her alive in a rocky cavern there. I shall give just enough of food as shall suffice for a bare expiation. She shall call on Hades, god of death, in her prayers. Perhaps she will win from him escape from death, or if not, at least in that last moment recognize her honoring the dead is labor lost.
I see Antigone making her way to her bed, but the bed that is rest for everyone.
You see me. You people of my country as I set out on my last road of all. Looking for the last time on the light of the sun. I am alive, but Hades, who gives sleep to everyone, is leading me to the shores of Antigone. My husband is to be Lord of Death.
Yes. You go to the place where the dead are hidden, but you go with distinction and praise.
It was your choice, and alone among mankind will you descend alive to that world of death.
No tears for me. No marriage. Broken-hearted, I am led along the road ready before me. Never again shall I suffer to look on the holy eye of the day. My fate claims no tears. No friend cries for me.
Take her away at once. Enfold her in that rocky tomb. There, leave her alone, solitary to die if she so wishes. Or live a buried life in such a home.
Tomb, bridal chamber, prison forever dug in rock. It is to you that I'm going to join my people, that great number that have died. When I come to the other world, my hope is strong that my coming will be welcome to my father, and dear to you, my mother, and dear to you, my brother deeply loved. What love, God, have I broken?
I will not comfort you with the hope that the sentence will not be accomplished.
I am led away. Look on me. The last remnant of the old royal line. See what I suffered, who makes me suffer, because I gave reverence to what claims reverence.
Dreadful is the mysterious power of fate. There is no deliverance from it.
My lord of Thebes, I come here led by men's help.
What is the news, wise Tierisias?
I will tell you, and you must listen to the prophet.
Never I have turned from your advice.
Realize you are on the razor edge of danger.
I shudder to hear those words. What can that be?
Your plans are the cause of this city's sickness. Our altars and sacrificial hearths are filled with the carrion meat of birds and dogs, torn from the flesh of Oedipus' poor son. The gods will not take our prayer or sacrifice. Reflect on these things. All men make mistakes, but once mistaken, a man is no longer accursed who, having fallen on ill, tries to cure that ill. Yield to the dead man. What bravery is this, to inflict another death upon the dead? I mean you well, and speak well for your good.
Old man, you are all archers and I your mark. I must be tried by your prophecies as well. This dead man you shall not hide in a grave, even though the eagle of Zeus bear the carrion. I will not so tremble at the pollution to let you bury him.
How much the best possession is the ability to listen to wise advice. It is through me you have saved the city.
You are a wise prophet, but what you love is wrong.
You should force me to declare what should be hidden in my own heart.
Out with it!
You will not outlive many more cycles of this swift sun before you give in exchange from your own loins a corpse for a corpse. For you have thrust one that belongs above, below the earth, and bitterly dishonored a living soul by lodging her in the grave. These acts of yours are violence on your part. Furies and spirits of death itself shall lie in ambush for you, and in their hands you shall be taken. all the cities will stir in hatred against you. You shall not escape their sting. I leave you so you may discharge your anger on younger men. So may he come to know to bear a quieter tongue in his head, and a better mind than that he carries in him.
That was a terrible prophecy, my lord.
He has never spoken a word of a lie to this city.
I know this. My mind is bewildered. To yield is terrible, but to destroy my very being with a self-destructive curse must also be reckoned in what is terrible.
You need good counsel and need to take it.
What must I do? Tell me, I will listen.
The girl. Go and bring her from her cave, and for the exposed dead man, give him his burial.
You would have me yield. Go quickly as you may. I must betray what is in my very heart. But it is ill to fight against what must be.
Go now and do this. Do not give the task to others.
I shall go just as I am. For my part, since my intention is so changed, as I bound her myself, I will free her.
You of many names, loud and thundering Zeus, you who rule where all are welcome.
It is thieves which you honor most of all cities. Now when the city is gripped by a violent plague, come with healing foot.
You are the master
Of the voices of the night.
Listen, citizens of our fair city! There is no condition of man's life that stands secure. Once, Creon was a man worthy of envy, for he saved this city from her enemies. But when a man forfeits joy, I do not count his life, but as life trapped in a corpse.
What is the sorrow of our princes, of which you are the messenger?
Death, and the living are guilty of their deaths.
Who is the murderer? Who the murdered? Tell us.
Haemon is dead. The hand that shed his blood was his very own. Truly his own hand, or his father's. His own hand, in anger against his father for a murder. Here I see Creon's wife Eruydice approaching. Unhappy woman.
I hear your words. A cry struck through my ears hearing of my household ruin. Tell me what is the story, for I shall hear it as one who is no stranger to sorrow.
Dear mistress, I will tell you, for I was there, and I will leave out no word of truth. I followed your husband to the end of the plain where Polynices' body lay unpitied and torn by dogs. Him we washed with sacred water, and we burned what was left of him, and we raised a high mound of his native earth. We set out for the hollowed rock, death's stone bridal chamber for the girl. We heard a voice of bitter weeping. As the king drew nearer, he realized his son's voice that haunted our ears. We entered a gap where the stones had been wrenched away. In the furthest part of the tomb, we saw her hanging by the neck, Haemon's hands about her waist, embracing her as he cried for the loss of his bride and all his father had done. Creon gave a bitter cry. "Poor son, what have you done? Come out, I pray you." The boy spat in his face and drew his sword. As his father ran to escape him, Haemon failed to strike him, and the poor wretch, in anger at himself, leaned on his sword, driving it halfway into his ribs. He folded the girl into him while he was still conscious and poured a sharp stream of bloody drops on her white cheeks. There they lie, the dead upon the dead.
What do you make of this? My lady is gone without a word of good or bad.
I am inclined to hope that, hearing of her son's death, she chose not to open her sorrow to the city.
This heavy silence seems just as dangerous as much empty wailing.
I will go in. There is sometimes danger in too much silence.
Here comes our king himself.
The mistakes of a blinded man are themselves rigid and laden with death. Oh, the awful blindness of those plans of mine. My son, so young to die, freed from the bonds of life through no folly of your own, only through me.
You've learned justice, but too late.
Yes. At this moment, God has sprung upon my head with a vast weight and struck me down.
My lord! You have great troubles, but you are soon to find woes from within the house.
What worse ill is yet to fall upon these ills?
The queen is dead. She died, poor lady, by recent violence upon herself. Her own hand struck her to the heart when she learned her son's lamented fate.
These actions can never be made to fit another to free me from the guilt. Haven of death, you can never have enough. Why do you destroy me? What doom still waits for me? I have but witnessed the death of my son, and now have news of another. Poor mother and son. Lead me away. I am no more a live man than one dead.
What you say is for the best.
Let it come. Let it come. That best of fates that waits in my last day, that I may never see one more day's light.
These things are for the future. We must deal with what impends. What in the future is to care for rests for those whose duty it is to care for them.
At least all that I want is in that prayer of mine.
Pray for no more at all. For what is destined for us men mortal, there is no escape.
Take me away at once. A rash, foolish man who has killed you, my son, and you too, lady. I do not know where to turn to look for support. A most unwelcome fate has leapt upon me.
Wisdom is far the chief element in happiness, and secondly, know a reverence toward the gods. Great words of prideful men are every punished with great blows.
And in old age, teach the chastened to be wise.